Just a few decades ago, Brussels sprouts were the lamest kid in school. They were bitter, they were stinky, and they made an absolute fool of themselves at cheerleading tryouts. So why now are they seemingly everywhere? Why do we suddenly like them? And if one of them left Brussels on a train going 110 miles per hour and another left Paris a half hour later going 130, where would they pass each other? Today, we're answering two of those questions. The Sproutaissance is the result of a decades-long, head-to-toe, inside-out makeover that goes all the way down to their very genes. No, their genes. And just like every good makeover, it comes down to three things: squad, style, and substance. And yes, to be clear, we are still talking about vegetables. If you want to be a cool kid, you gotta win over the cool kids. When popular Food Network chefs and celebrity restaurateurs started singing Brussels sprouts' praises in the late 90s, the normies were destined to follow, because the cool thing to do is always whatever the cool people are doing. That and this. But why did the whatever, why did those people hop on the Brussels train in the first place? There are two big reasons, and the first is actually pretty simple. Remember, what's on the outside is just as important as what's on the inside. Which is to say, how you prepare your food is as big a deal as what your food is. That's what makes chocolate-covered dog biscuits so delicious. In the pre-90s US of A, the standard preparation for Brussels sprouts and most other vegetables was boiling or steaming. The habit came from old European times, which, to be fair, are best known for how good the food was, when conventional wisdom said that ovens were for bread and vegetables belonged over an open flame. And while that idea isn't really based on anything, it hung around for generations. Sort of like astrology, or feeling superior for dunking on astrology. But you know what's just as easy as throwing your sprouts in some water until they taste like sewage? Preheating your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius, cutting them in half to max out surface area, tossing with some tasty wets and dries, then popping them in the oven cut sides down for 30 minutes or 30 minutes Celsius. You can even toss them halfway through and garnish with some lemon and salt so you can feel like an artist. Okay, it's slightly more complicated than boiling, but it's worth it to get these instead of stinky green mush balls that taste like regret. The magic of roasting lies in two chemical reactions set off by the high, dry heat of an oven. One is caramelization, which is the third step of making a killer ice cream sundae and also the process of breaking down a food's natural sugars. Then there's the Maillard's reaction, which breaks down proteins. Both of these cause browning and create all kinds of nutty, toasty, good-smelling compounds in all kinds of food, from cookies to, Brussels sprouts. At some point in the 90s, Americans started getting wise to roasting, which made Brussels sprouts dramatically more edible. But remember when I said that there were two big reasons they took off? That was the simple one. This is the other one. The most important part of a makeover, of course, is changing yourself on a cellular level to appeal to the masses. And that's exactly what scientists did here. In the mid-20th century, industrial farming was all the rage. But Brussels sprouts grow like this. They've got a cool leaf hat and then a stem with a bunch of sprouts crowded around it. To machine harvest those bad boys, you have to feed the whole plant through, which only works if all the sprouts are ready to go at the same time, which they often weren't. So in the 1960s, a company called Sakata engineered a new Brussels sprout variety. Its main feature was that all the sprouts on one stem would be ready to harvest at the same time. Its main drawback was that those sprouts smelled like feet and tasted weird and bitter and bad. But if you can engineer your way out of the harvesting problem, why can't you engineer your way out of the taste problem? That was the question a team of Dutch researchers at Novartis asked in 1999. As it turns out, the answer is, oh, wait a minute, you can totally engineer your way out of the taste problem. They found out that the compounds sinigrin and progoitrin, along with being the namesakes of my two very weird sons, are the masterminds behind Brussels sprouts' deeply unpopular taste and smell. And a peek at their chemical makeup shows some real legends in the world of stinky elements. I mean, look at this. Sulfur? The guy that did rotten egg, skunk, and gas leak? How did they book him for this? So once the scientists identified the problem, a company called Biozaden looked into their massive library of historic Brussels sprout seeds, which is a super normal thing to have, mind your business, and crossbred the easy to harvest ones with some old low sinigrin and progoitrin ones to make the super sprout. Well, they didn't call it the super sprout, but they do currently sell a variety called Speedia F1, which is cool because I didn't think F1 could get any Speedia. The new Brussels sprout was easy to grow, easy to harvest, and tasted way better than its predecessor. Like I said, it's simple makeover math. Combine the right substance, style, and squad, and you get success. Or, in the Brussels sprouts case, massive success. By one estimate, the US went from growing 2,500 acres of Brussels sprouts to 10,000 in just a few years, and despite everything we know about supply and demand, the price farmers are fetching for these little guys has gone up fourfold too. So the moral of the story, you are definitely not perfect the way you are, and you'll be extremely popular if you change everything about yourself to be more palatable, or at least have some Dutch scientists do it for you. And if there's one thing in life that's ready for a makeover, it's your coffee habit. If you're anything like I was, despite having the theoretical ability to make coffee at home, you go and fork over $6 every day to get a better cup than what you could do with grocery store beans. But there's a better way, with this video's sponsor, Trade Coffee. It's a subscription service that just makes the at-home coffee experience better. You easily discover new coffees from over 55 top indie roasters, enabling you to make your best cup of coffee at home every day. And if you're anything like me, you'll love it. It's easy to use with flexible plans that suit any schedule. And the coffee is simply great. Like, that's the whole point. Without Trade, I wouldn't have discovered this Milwaukee Rockstar blend or Pixoto Dose from Arizona. Just two of the dozens of fresh, flavorful roasts Trade sent me so far. Plus, the sipping experience is better when you're sure that nobody's suffering on the other side of the supply chain. The roasters maintain high ethical and sustainable sourcing standards, so you can feel good about every bag you order. Upgrade your morning with better and ultimately cheaper coffee. Right now, Trade is offering our viewers a free bag of coffee with any subscription at drinktrade.com/HAI or by clicking the button on screen or the link in the description, and you'll be supporting HAI while you're at it. So thanks.